We'll see. I'm interested to see what he does. I just think this is a
Ostrippin,
backfight
I knew
game
it. I
for
knew
Hans.
it.
Really?
I like that.
I
It's
just
a great map for it. I just think that Nagano has potentially a strong counter with the rifle company flamers. So one thing I want to mention, what you say about the unbalance here, I think it's map dependent. I think some maps like Crossing the Woods or Lunger's favor Axis will favor Wehrmacht just because US struggle with the sniper. However, Arnhem Checkpoint is a really great map for US because it's a bit harder to use the sniper. There's a lot of cutoffs, there's a lot of choke points and shot blockers. But also, secondly, because of how many roads there are, it means that light vehicles have that mobility bonus, so you can use light vehicles way more aggressively. So it's hard to play around uh, the sides of the map when you're versing a US where they have the light vehicles which can chase you down so easily. So yeah, perhaps we'll see an M20. It's a very good unit on a map where you have so much room to chase down your opponents. But I really want to know, how does Nagano counter this Ostrupen? Because I think this is a really good strategy to go for.
I just want to. I really do think A half track is going to be a good one there. And I also think rifles for the buildings is going to end up being the pick. Maybe tier 1, tier 3 from the USF, and Hans of course probably going to end up playing the tier 3 again himself. I think this early side is going to be really important. How these engagements go in the middle. Flames unlock, I think it was at 1? No, 0 CP, so he can get access to the flamethrowers straight away and make things really difficult. Of course, that would require him locking that commander in straight away.
Going for a quick mortar.
Yeah, it's a sensible decision, I think. It leaves him some options at least as well, in case he decides he doesn't want to go into that commander. At least he's got something to help deal with the buildings.
It's good against the MG. The MG is obviously very static. The Ostrupen can just avoid it and go somewhere else, but it's definitely worth getting, I think. It will only give him 2 combat squads, though, 2 riflemen and an echelon. So he may lose the cutoff here, especially with the MG nearby, can hop in the church once the Ostrupen force the echelon away. Trying to buy time. I like how the MG didn't pack up. Helping Hans didn't fall for the garrison hop in and out shenaniganry that we often see from players where they hop out and they hop back in, hoping to bait out their opponent that's then left cover. So moving in now with the MG, Ostrupen actually forcing away the mortar as well. So pretty good play here. It is the cutoff, however, the cutoff is to the left side, the right side isn't cut off. So I like how Nagano has capped the right side instead of the left, because he knows the cutoff is very vulnerable.
Yeah, that is a nice, interesting point there. I think Hans is actually starting to move his way over to the right now. He's got MG, which is covering that strategic point that would kind of negate fuel on the right-hand side of the map. Fortunately, though, Nagano's mortar will make it very difficult for the MG to stay in that side for very long. So it is a decent strategy there. I'm just impressed. I'm always impressed when Hans does this. How much early map control he gets. He's going to be able to do some good teching here. He's got himself a good position. He's flexible to go into buildings that are beneficial on any side that Nagano approaches the mid area of the map. So a lot of really good points for helping Hans at the start of this game. He needs to be careful though, because I think he's in danger of Nagano forcing retreats off on some slightly weaker squads, and that could result in Nagano kind of flipping this around a little bit and taking some pretty pivotal locations.
Oh, the MG, what's going to get wiped by the rifleman? Suppression comes through just in time, and the MG will survive here. Rifleman going to have to retreat. It wouldn't have been that bad to lose the MG, because when you capture it with the Ostrupen, they're much cheaper to reinforce. They also have better received accuracy. Because the thing is with support weapons in Code 2 is they only have negative received accuracy when it's the default crew that has them. They lose the received accuracy penalty when they're recrewed. Ostrupen still have a pretty bad received accuracy, but surely it's better than the MG crew. So if you're in a situation where there's no way of your opponent to steal that, apart from the little bit of manpower bleed, it isn't actually that bad, especially if you're recrewing with Pioneers. That is the dream. Pioneers on an MG, you get the massive sight range increase, so it makes the MG have a more effective firing range. We do have the 222 coming out now for helping Hans, having the very quick Tier 2 barracks, skipping the Tier 1 thus far.
I have to say, we have seen some very good recrews previously of things for the Soviets. I have to say, I think one of my favorite ones is picking up MGs with the Partisans. You know, when you just get the six-man squads, PPSHs,
Yeah.
MG on the run as well. Absolutely beautiful. I don't think enough people really put consideration into what squad picks up which units in situations where you do get decrews like that. But it does make, of course, huge differences. This is really nice, by the way. Noganno's starting to get a lot of map control back, going for equally devastating cutoffs. The scout car's going to force the echelons into denying fuel from Hans, and it's going to keep him getting those light vehicles that we know Hans absolutely loves with this build. And I think actually this is something where Hans may fall into a little bit of a mistake here. He's going for the same build that he did in the first game, and you know, as it was effective, you know, no shame in that whatsoever, but I think Noganno is going to be expecting this, and he's probably going to be able to provide the counter.
Echelon on the
left.
left.
This is a good mental.
Echelon may go
strategy
down
from
here.
Hans here.
He passed through the road. 222 gets the wipe here. Great pickup there with the 222. I mentioned that about the US, the light vehicles are more mobile. However, looks like Helping Hans is turning that one around, making use of that himself. Again, the flanks are very exposed. And Noganno's gone for a really crazy build. He's gone a mortar and 4 riflemen on top of the starting echelon. So very, very heavy infantry build. It's a lot of manpower bleed and a lot of upkeep. It can actually backfire going this infantry heavy. Even the mortar may get wiped here by the 222. So really putting the pressure on. We have the captain on the field now, taking up to a single bazooka. The mortar will survive, and now we'll probably see Noganno go for a Stuart once he has the fuel for it. Flame half-track got hit by an AT grenade.
Yeah, sensible decision. Allows Noganno to get himself together in the center of the map without fear of being caught up in the flamethrowers. It's an interesting one. I wonder, we're seeing a double scout car from Hans. I think actually that's worthy enough to take on the Stuart when it does come out. I personally think Stuart's like a little bit of a trap. I think Hans is going to be expecting that. There's plenty of Faust options as well if the Ostrupen are nearby. So I still feel confident that Hans is going to have the right kind of tools at his disposal to deal with this. If the Stuart comes out, of course. Maybe he's just doing it for the AT guns. I think, you know, that's the first thing he's going for is an AT gun now. It's entirely possible.
Still no med bunker here from Helping Hans. His Ostrupen are getting quite low here, so that would definitely be worth getting.
We don't typically see that with Ostrupen though, do we? And I think maybe, you know, we said before about them being the cannon fodder, and you know, they're very cheap and expendable. Maybe that's a lot to do with it.
Oh, this nade actually connects here. Wow. That's not good. No, Noganno's going for an M1 rather than going for the Stuart. I feel like maybe this half-track wasn't the best choice, just because 3 light vehicles is probably too much, especially with no infantry. There's actually 1 rifleman squad there. I mean, only 1 squad had the AT grenade available, and I'm pretty sure that squad was on cooldown. Half-track going in for the chase here. This is a long retreat path. The M1 is moving up eventually, but he may lose a few riflemen here. The squads, they might survive, they might not, but the M1 in position, ready to go. There's a shot blocker there near the hedge. 1 shot does connect. Half-track now going to be flanking around the side. Captain moving in here. 1 bazooka shot will come through, but that's it for now. Maybe the captain in the church will get the second bazooka shot off. Oh, there we go!
Wow.
He kills it! I think that was actually a big mistake there from Noganno, or rather from Helping Hans. If he went left, if he went west towards the VP, he would have been fine, but he went along the road, and there was the obvious play was put the captain in the church.
This is really good play from Noganno. Look at how efficient he's being with the captain. He not only is he just taken down the flame half-track, he's now pushing through to try and get a final shot on the scout car with engine damage. Gets the kill on that. The light vehicle play from Hans has been completely denied at this stage. It's a huge, huge early game loss for Hans.
This is disastrous. He may even lose his other scout car as well here. Oh man, that scout car, it died to one of the rifle shots. It wasn't even the bazooka that killed it, and the Stuart's on the way.
This is a lot for Hans to come back from in the early game. This is the thing, I think USF counters this so well. You know, the Stuart's going to be hugely problematic for Hans. He's going to go for the Panzergrenadiers, only likely assume that they're going to be equipped with the Panzerschrecks when he can afford them with the munitions. Again, look at this as well. Look at this chase from Noganno.
He's going to lose this.
It's going to be a dead MG.
This is disastrous here. Helping Hans getting completely countered. There's light vehicles. Oh no, Stuart's backing away and I'm too scared. Doesn't want to risk it. You can't blame him for that when he's doing this well. Doesn't need to be too greedy here. Has a squad of Pigrants here, so at least we have some infantry. But there are 4 riflemen, so there's a lot of infantry on the field here for Noganno, who can go for the weapon racks. Who is right now is going weapon racks.
Weapon racks is a sensible choice. I definitely think that's better. It doesn't obviously want to go for a commander pick just yet, even though he knows what Hans has gone for. He doesn't quite know what the tech is going to be. I think he can assume it's only going to be a Tech 3 at this rate, if anything. But do you know what? There's too many things playing in Noganno's favor right now. One is that he has the advantage of picking a commander for the situation. You know, that and the actual resource boost that he's got over Hans. I think Hans has to play carefully here, and he's doing the sensible thing. He's going for the AT gun now. Going to have the MG there as well. He should be able to lock some territory down and just maybe get himself into a position where he can start trying to maybe get some units on the field that will turn some of the engagements for him. Such a shame, though. So many light vehicles lost there. He's going to be feeling down about it as well. You know, we thought, you know, how much did it affect him in the last game when his nerves started getting to him?
Yeah.
We do not want to see that happen here, because that will be, you know, really, really unfortunate for Hans.
Negative cover Pigrants moving into the heavy cover now. Nice retreat path there, or rather nice punishment of the retreat path from the Panzer Grenadiers. Trading pretty well against the Riflemen for now, going into the house. I believe it has a few windows there, so it's not too bad. I just want to point out that Kyle, the CM for Relic, has retweeted me, hashtag I believe in Hans. He may have picked a bad time to do so, however, but there we go. So long as people are keeping the hashtag I believe in Hans alive, then you never know, Stormless, you never know.
Well, this is a game where comebacks happen in bizarre ways. It may look very threatening as a position, but, you know, we've seen, you know, take for instance Barton. You know, Barton time after time proves that you can come back from a variety of situations. And yeah, you know, it's going to be very, very difficult. Hans has put himself really on the back foot in a very, very difficult spot. You know, if Hans is, you know, one of those players that can do this, and this is certainly what we're going to be keeping an eye on right now, is how he decides to deal with that. None of these engagements seem to be going his way at the moment. There's something on every single VP that Hans isn't really able to deal with. He's still spreading his units out as well, which I kind of disagree with, because he just isn't able to take really efficiently any of these territories.
Took a pack, no, rather the Stuart took 2 pack shots there. So almost the opportunity for the Stuart comeback. Something that's actually interesting here for Noganno, he doesn't have the heavy cavalry commander, the Pershing commander. Nade's actually being teched here by Noganno. Pretty bad retreat through the Ostrupen, but again, Ostrupen can't punish things on retreat very well until they have weapons. But I think we'll see M10s. I would actually expect to see a lot of M10s. It's really the only thing that Noganno lacks. He has everything that he possibly needs, apart from mobile AT. Going for the field point here with the Ostrupen and the Pigrants. Nice grenade dodge. The Bar Riflemen can't trade against 2 squads. They will have to retreat. This could be a really bad retreat path here. The Pigrants, they have 3 men. The rifles are actually quite low. Action all over the place. Nade on the Pigrants at the north. Oh, that could have gone a lot worse. There only 1 Pigran drops. Riflemen do survive the retreat. And there's an Ostrupen in the church right in front of this Stuart. That is a recipe for disaster. However, Stuart a little bit late to respond.
Risky plays. Plenty of micro here going on at the moment. AT gun is on the field trying to just push the Stuart away. I think Hans is going to have to branch out to the left here. That seems to be where Noganno isn't present so much at the moment. He has to mobilize pretty quickly, maybe take some of the buildings and just hold his line there. Unfortunately, that's one of the places that he's most likely to get cut off by Noganno's advances. Hans actually reaching out for another MG, so I think that's his plan. He's probably going to want to lock down for a little bit. 150 VPs nearly for Hans, so this is a, you know, a really, really intense game from Noganno being played here, and it's got to act so quickly.
AP ammo on the Stuart. Not taking much damage though. The Stuart has a lot of armor. It's not like a half track. However, the pack shot connects here. Maybe a second one. No, he gets out. Very important, the AP ammo there. The AP ammo, it did the difference between 2 pack shots and 3 pack shots being required to finish that Steward off. So it's like the 2-2-2. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but often it makes the difference between the vehicle surviving and not.
I mean, too, I think in fairness, gives you a lot more time than you really need to get that vehicle out there after identifying the situation.
Other than that, though, it looks like Hans is holding on for now, but the VP situation is definitely not something to be proud of. 120, and they are going down very quickly here. There's the Rifleman in the middle VP, so we'll be a triple cap on for now. Noganno, looks like he has the tier 4, going for his major now, so we should have the M4A3 Sherman as an option. Nade on the house there, almost takes it down. Surprisingly, no Ostrippen actually were dropped in that nade.
I've got to say, really good play from the Stuart. It has been harassing all sides of the map at every opportunity. Nice retaliation, though, from Hans. 80 gun manages to get a shot on the Stuart, pushes it away, but it's just futile, though. I mean, Hans is actually going so infantry heavy. It's the only thing he can do, and he's just so hard countered by these bar riflemen. He just really isn't able to get anywhere. Noganno's great teching choice to go for the grenade, tech as well, is that he's just able to constantly get around all these MGs that Hans is building. So, the counter that Hans has put in place just isn't working at the moment whatsoever. Going to go down very, very quickly. If Noganno keeps a triple cap, the game's going to be over within a minute's time. And I'm wondering how many people think this dream is still going to happen.
Well, I will remind you, Stormless, there's been 6 retweets so far, so the dream, it's happening, man. It's happening, but no, in all honesty, this game is not going well. This game is not going well at all here for Hans, and I think Noganno just didn't make any mistakes. Noganno he capitalized on the overextensions that Helping Hans made, and actually, speaking of overextensions, we have one right now, but we have no Panzerfaust. There's no barracks, Stormless. There's no barracks for the Panzerfaust. Oh no!
It just goes to show how Hans is feeling right now. It's he's getting sloppy at the moment. It's clearly been too much for him.
Isn't it 80 manpower? Pretty sure it's 80 manpower for the barracks. I reckon he just forgot. I honestly think he just forgot about the barracks. And that's exactly what happens when you're in this high-stress situation. You have the nerves of the tournament situation. Those small mistakes, you will make them. You will definitely make them. And it's unfortunate to see, but Noganno definitely outplaying Hans through and through. The man of Russian nerves not being deterred by his crushing defeat, I suppose we can call it, in the first game, and able to really show his prowess, put Hans in the backseat.
Just yet. Hans just taking 2 VPs. He's got some good lockdown positions. Panzerschreck Grenadiers. Question is, does he have enough to hold off these riflemen? They've now started getting veterancy as well, nearly vet 3 on a lot of them. Hans, though, again, late retreat on this Ostrup, has to retreat through another squad of riflemen. Noganno spots it straight away. And again, so funny, we were talking only maybe after the first game that Noganno was the one whose micro was slipping, and how wrong we were.
Yeah, definitely out-microing the marathon. I suppose Helping Hans more of the micro sprinter to go for that one. And we actually have a HE Sherman on the field. Very effective against all of these infantry, and I love the lack of munitions here for Noganno. You know that you're macroing well when you can't even afford a pintle on your Sherman. It means you're using all of your nades, you're using all of your weapon racks, not mines, because he's playing a faction that doesn't have mines for some reason. But he has the Steward as well. I don't think we've seen any stun rounds from the Steward. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. But that's also a great way of spending munitions. The Pigren's in the house near the north side of that VP. Evacuate the house. The mortar almost taking that one out.
It's so tough. I mean, Hans is actually putting up a pretty good fight right now. It's the kind of fight we would have liked to have seen maybe 10 minutes ago when he was in a position to come back from this. This to me seems a bit of a futile effort, but at least he is going to give this a go. He's not one of these that is throwing in the towel at this point. Clearly still something left in it for him. But Noganno equally, I don't think Noganno is being as aggressive as he could be at this point. Noganno could be closing the game, I think, relatively easily. With the Sherman, the ability for the Sherman, once you have the vetted crew inside, it's going to be able to crit repair if it does get critted. It's got abilities to pop smoke. It's very, very potent. There's only one AT gun on the field and some Panzer Grenadiers. And AT gun's firmly locked on the right-hand side. So this Sherman could be doing much more work than it actually is at this point.
However, Helping Hans actually going to be building a Panzer IV at any moment now. Maybe even a Stug if he's worried about some more heavier tanks. Maybe the Bulldozer could definitely be an option here. And that's the stretch to survive, is when your opponent has tanks and you do not. Once you get your own Panzer IV or your own Stug out, that's where it gets a lot easier. But still, running out of VPs here, only 36, which currently haven't been ticking down for a while here. Is actually moving up for a nice flank on the Sherman. Shrek's up the front, Faust behind. Ostrupen are very clumped up here though. At the church and the mortar hits. Looking for the Faust. He may get it too though, but I think the Ostrupen a little bit too scared here. The Sherman so close with that HE. They should probably just retreat from this one, yeah. He would have gone for the Faust there, but the mortar took him too low.
Another great play from Noganno, flanks with a rifleman on the left VP, manages to pop smoke on the MG, but there we go, he's just started to go down, he's already in the green cover position. Sherman's coming in to help out as well, and is going to be able to clear that building. Panzer IV may not get there in time, and all Noganno has to do is just close off a few more VPs, and then it's going to be an end game situation. Hans can actually get a Faust hit, actually no he can't because he doesn't have the munitions.
Does he have a barracks though? There's no barracks. He uses the railway though. Yeah, I think Hans is just too desperate. He doesn't want to spend the 80 manpower and what, the 10 or 15 fuel for the barracks. Using a railway though, I'm actually not sure where that is. Oh, it's on the right VP. I don't think it's found anything though. And meanwhile, we had an MG42 in the middle get wiped. Now stolen by the rifleman. Pack as well going to get decrewed by the Stuart. Panzer IV has arrived, but it may be too late here for Helping Hans.
I think Hans is going to be disappointed with this, I have to say.
Well, he may kill the Stuart here. Still no Faust, but in front of it. Doesn't even have the munitions for the stun? Oh no, rather, he had the munitions for the stun, but not for the damage engine. Or the engine block, whatever it's called. Point blank engine shot. Going pretty aggressive after the Stuart. I guess he wants to find whatever he can. And there's a bazooka firing at him from the captain. Actually, an ambo could have been the target there, but Hans not having vision of where the ambo actually is. Let's go to his vision here. He doesn't see the ambos, doesn't realize.
North. Oh.
Ooh. That was an MG42, was it? That's pretty bad.
No, Ostrupen.
Oh, okay. Well, we have the.
Oh, no, sorry, in that building. Sorry, yeah, but MG42 there. There was actually a building in the mid that got taken down there. Panzer IV goes down to the Sherman. Hans is trying to recap the right-hand side, but the riflemen come back. 3 VPs on the table. Hans is not going to make this. We have to call it now. Hans is going to be knocked out of the tournament.
GG there for Noganno.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Noganno just playing a better series. I mean, we can analyze it all we'd like, but really, I think it's just Hans making mistakes, and I mean, it's hard to really be critical of the game there, because what went wrong for Hans? He went too aggressive with his vehicles and then he got punished. The first one was because of the M1AT gun, and because he had a bad retreat path, or intentionally, like it was a bad retreat path. And then what else was it? It was the 222 that went down to the Steward, I think. So
yeah. Well, no, the first 222 went down to the captain push. In fact, both the half-track and the Stuart went down to... Sorry, not the Stuart. The 222 went down to that captain. And that was just great from Noganno, because the way that he just ran that engagement was just place to place, managed to take down both. But, if you're going to invest in light vehicles, I think against USF is probably one of the worst factions to employ that light vehicle approach. They just seem to have they're so prepared for it. They could have bazookas, they could have the AT gun, could have the A half-track, could have the Stuart, do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
it almost seems like there's so many counters to the light vehicle strategy. I honestly think Ostrupen was a bad choice. I know you're saying the map, it's a good choice. I just think against the faction USF in general, Ostrupen is not as potent.
Well, the
Works
early
great
game
versus
was fine.
Soviets.
The first, say, 5 minutes was really good for helping Hans, but then
yeah.
it was after that. It was the mid game. So I think the opener, the Ostrupen worked well. It was just maybe his tech path. Maybe he should have gone for P-Grens instead of the half track. I think two scout cars and a half track, maybe too much. I definitely agree with you though in terms of the light vehicle heavy play style is the
One
weakest.
moment, by the way.
Can I keep talking, or are you? Okay, I'll keep talking then. I don't know what he meant by that, but the US can counter the quick 2-2, the quick half track very effectively because the Stuart counters both vehicles and it counters infantry, and a big part of that is due to not only the armor that the Stuart has, it's a lot compared to the other light vehicles, especially the AC, but secondly, it's also because of the stun rounds. Whereas against Soviets, the T-70 has a really hard time. Well, at least against two 2-2s, it definitely can't 1v2. It doesn't have any stuns or anything like that. It doesn't have as much health and much armor as the Stuart. So it's much easier to do that against Soviets and against Brits possibly as well. But yeah, I think that strategy, it's a big gamble. It's very risky because you can lose a vehicle so easily. I loved how Noganno played that one. I don't know what Helping Hans should have done. I feel like a lot of times when I cast, I'm like, yeah, he should have done this. That's obviously the better choice. But in this situation, I actually don't know what went wrong. Maybe Blake can.
I'd say light vehicles. I just think light vehicles. You do make a good point that Ostrupen did do well in the early point of that game. But they could have just held it. You could have just held it with some AT guns and teched up to tier 3 quickly. And I just feel like, not doing that and going for light vehicles was so much of a big loss. Like, it is a gamble at the end of the day. And it was such a huge loss that it just that spoiled the game. That was the only thing, I think.
I certainly agree with the machine's analysis of the situation. I agree 100%. It's just not the build that I would go for and not the map that I would go for it on. We haven't really run through the map choice. As the machine said, the Stuart is just a better version of the T-70 when it comes to countering that light vehicle play coming out of the Wehrmacht, and even riflemen as well when it comes to facing off against the Ostrupen. Ostrupen can find nice engagements against conscripts early on. It's more difficult against riflemen. It's even more difficult against barred up riflemen. That makes it even harder, and then the fall off really happens. Even Pigren certainly struggle in that situation, and the build worked, as we saw there from Noganno. Going for those 4 riflemen, had a decent munitions float for those bars, and straight into the captain obviously for that fast Stuart. It was very well thought out and very well executed by Noganno. Not the map that I would go for it on either. If you look at Angoville, sure, the middle is awesome, and that is a crucial point on the map. It really governs the flow of the map. I like to look at it as there are a lot of if you have control over the middle, it's much easier to find rotations between the two sides. And the reason you need to find that is because all the important points are on the two sides. You have units in the middle, fantastic. That is great, especially in the big game, because it'll let you find those rotations. But in the early game, you're covering essentially a VP and a cutoff, no real important points. You're not covering munitions, you're not covering fuel, the points that you need earlier on in the game. And that's what you saw there. The Ostrupen were fantastic at holding down the middle. Noganno couldn't get in there, and he didn't try to until he had had more pressure coming through. But he couldn't get into the middle, and that's fine because there wasn't really a lot of income coming in for Helping Hans. So I'd say it's the wrong commander choice in the situation, though he tried to play it out well.
It's a good point that you mentioned. Is Ostrupen? They're very good at locking down part of the map with an MG. But they're not good at pushing out. And Arnhem is a really tricky map for that, because exactly as you said, the fuel points are so far away from the VP, or the center where the cutoff is. So you got to kind of split up your army, which is where Axis in general fail, particularly Axis, I would say. So pretty brutal, yeah, pretty brutal. I lost my train of thought. What was it?
Well, I'm going to interrupt your train of thought because
Okay.
we've just had some stupidly interesting news that's come in. Von Ivan beat Jove.
Whoa!
So
Hashtag. All right, what's the new hashtag, Storm? What are we calling it?
the American Dream.
Hashtag
American
keeping the
The
NA
American
dream
dream.
alive. Wait for it. Wait for it. Capitals. Okay, so
Yeah,
the,
I mean,
green.
we're
There we
we're
go.
gonna
It's
quickly
going on.
bring AE, and I can see AE is dying to come in and tell us what has happened. So we'll let AE have a brief portion to come
User
in and
was
tell
moved
us
to your
what the
channel.
story is from the front lines. Come on, AE, give it to us.
Hello there. Yes, the stories from the front line very interesting indeed, as you may have just mentioned on stream. Von Ivan has indeed beaten Jove 2-1 to make it into the semi-final against Noganno. You just obviously saw Noganno beat Hans. The match against Jove in the Ace game G3 was absolutely sensational. So it's definitely a recommended cast for General's Gentlemen to pick up on. It was great. It was on Argentine Crossroads, as I may have mentioned before you started watching. Noganno literally demolish Hans. It went 55 minutes, and at 45 minutes you had a massive push with Von Ivan just sending 3 Pumas, 2 Osvins all the way around the back of Joe's army into base. Took out some Shermans, then all of them on like 5 to 10% health managed to retreat with the Vet 3 Grens providing LMG covering fire from the marauding Vet 3 riflemen. And I think that was the turning moment. And from there, it was always a bit of an uphill struggle for Jove, and Von just held out strong. 55-minute win, great game.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing game, and oh, it's so good. It's nice that we've got some things to look forward to watching as well once this finishes. How is it going on the southern front of the brackets as well? Obviously, DevM waiting to play his semi-finals game. What's it looking like for Barton and
Devon's just
Jeslyn?
ordered a macchiato, and he's been reading a book about Portuguese history. He's thinking about making his way back home because his mum's calling him in for supper soon. In the game to decide who's going to play him, you've got Hegelin and Barton. Currently 29 minutes in, Barton's already down to 46 VPs and dropping. 2 Osvins against pretty much a massive American army. You got M10s, it seems. Hegelin's gone armor. And yeah, the entire map is blue with the USF of Jezelin, so it's definitely not similar to the famous ESL game between the two, which was the same factions. This time, Jezelin's just on a warpath, and Barton looks like he's heading out of the tournament.
so a lot of Wehrmacht success by the sound of it. No
A lot
OKW
of,
though.
Yeah, Axis success indeed. OKW 1 or 2, I think Wehrmacht or Ostia, whatever you want to call them, up 5 today alone. So very good. But I must say, obviously, Barton has been in this position with like 30 VPs before, and people think he's lost.
It was in there last week. The same thing last week happened.
But this time he's literally just got his base sector, so it's not looking probable, to be honest.
Well, we'll definitely see. There's going to be an interesting one to follow. What I'm going to do quickly, by the way, sorry to cut you. Is there anything else, A? Because I'm just going to run the raffle.
No, over and out.
No, all right. Thank you very much again for news from the front. I'm going to do the raffle draw at the moment. So here you can see Pompey, who was the winner of the last. We're going to give away. How many should we give away, GG? How many think?
6, 8, 10. I don't know. You put me in the spotlight here. I'm not in charge of the raffles. You are
Okay,
the
we'll
streamer,
just-
man. You
we'll
are
just
the
g-
raffle dude.
we'll
I'm
go
just thinking
until-
about what semi-final is going to be the most hype. We're going to have Von Ivan versus Noganno or DevM versus either Jeslin or Barton. I mean, I kind of want to see Von Ivan keep in a Dream Alive Kappa clause. That would be quite pleasant. But at the same time, I mean, I want to see DevM in action.
Yeah, Devon's going to be interesting. The other thing with Devon as well, he's got the clear advantage in that he's very relaxed right now. He's probably been watching his potential opponents' games as well, you know, that are happening in the observer mode. So, you know, I think he's going to have a good little advantage point here from winning his games so early. I think his next game, you know, could end up being another stomp, you know, depending on what intel he kind of gets from that. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. I think the best one we're going to get, though, I mean, Von Ivan is clearly a player to watch today. You know, I really was not expecting Von Ivan to beat Jove, and it sounds like it was an incredible game as well. So obviously, you know, I think we're going to stick with this bracket. Am I right in saying that?
Sure, yeah, I'm up for it. It sounds like a good time to me. And yeah, Von Ivan surprising us. And also, I was talking to DevM the other day, and DevM, I think, had a really good idea of the strength of the players, because he was saying that Theodosius he thinks is the best player, and then I was like, what about Jove? And he was like, nah, I'm not too worried about Jove. You know, I think Jove's overrated. And at the time, I was like, whoa, hold up, man. But as we can see, getting knocked out by Von Ivan. So I think the Warpaint Championship has really shattered some of our perceptions of who's the best player, who are the best players in Company of Heroes 2. Loveness getting knocked out, Jove getting knocked out, helping Hans getting knocked out.
Yeah, all the heavyweights like that we would have expected are kind of just being whittled away, and I think that the southern bracket has been very like upsetting for a lot of people. It's just full of surprises. If Jezelin closes out against Barton, I think that's going to be another big upset. I'd love to see a Jezelin DevM game. I think that's an
Ooh.
interesting one.
That could be a great grand final.
Precisely, yeah. I mean that's not going to be a final. It would be a semi-final at best.
Right.
You know, but potential finals lining up at the moment. You know, could have like a Von Ivan DevM or you know, a Jezelin Von Ivan. There's loads of potential combinations for this final that would just absolutely crazy. But the whole tournament's just going in ways that did not expect at all. What I was going to say is if we can just take a quick break, if you don't mind. I've got
Sure.
just a couple of things I need to do, like just have a quick bite to eat and also go on a bathroom break. The other guys, they're not going to be starting their game straight away, so we can take a couple of minutes off, you know, just to do that. So let's call it maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Hey, Von Ivan's in chat. Congratulations, by the way. We'll be back in 4 minutes, guys. So go and grab a bite to eat, get something to drink for the next game, and we'll see you very, very shortly.